Hi everyone, I'm Dave Giancola, joined again by Mike Trossel for another episode of The Road to Stardom. Well, Mike, today Ben An is a successful touring pro, but back in 2009, he disrupted the amateur ranks in a major way.
And Dave, An won the 2009 U.S. Amateur at Southern Hills in sweltering Oklahoma at only 17 years of age, becoming the youngest champion in the country's oldest amateur championship, dating all the way back to 1895. An sealed his place in history in dominant fashion as well, winning the title match by a commanding 7-5 margin over Ben Martin.
Let's take a look at how Ben An made history.
An even clearer look at downtown Tulsa today, just a few miles north of Southern Hills Country Club, hosting another USGA championship. 3 U.S. Opens held here through the years, and this week the Perry Maxwell design hosts the U.S. Amateur. The fourth and final match, it is 20-year-old junior at Stanford Steve Ziegler versus the youngest player left in the field, Seoul, South Korea's Byung-hun An. Again, just 17 years old, and he's got a 3-up lead on the Stanford Cardinal in the quarterfinals of America's oldest championship, the U.S. Amateur. An at the 14th to answer the tee shot of Ziegler.
Well, that appears to be headed left. Well, just slightly. It's a good shot back into the center of the green, so both left with uphill putts from there.
Here is Ziegler at the 15th for par to win the hole a moment ago and square the match.
This is that putt that is really slow up the steep hill.
Not quite enough. An still has a bogey putt here to have the hole, just a short one. And so he retains his 1-up lead through 15. We'll go to the long 507-yard 16th. Now An has a birdie putt to take a 2-up lead with 2 to play. And runs it right in the back of the cup.
It's a good thing the hole got in the way there.
That thing was traveling.
Yes, it was.
So An's hope continue here in a big way of trying to become the youngest ever to lift the Havemeyer Trophy. What a clutch shot with a birdie in the back of the cup at the longest par 4 here, 507 yards. An's third out of the bunker in front of this green.
Go! Get up! Get up! Good shot.
Yeah.
So he's got a chance for his 4. And what about An, Steve, the youngest player, just 17 years old, again down in familiar territory in Florida, Bradenton, Florida.
Well, when you can have success at the Western Amateur, Gary, it shows you understand the stroke and match play championship, a format you seldom see.
Well, interestingly, he's played a kind of a combination of both amateur and junior golf this summer. He's played better against the amateurs than he has against the junior competition.
Back at 17, An trying to move on.
A little uphiller here, not much break in it.
Oh, that looked like a little bit of a push. So
Ziegler lives on to the 18th. On now.
Well, that's just a short iron trying to get the ball in play, but it just ducked left on him over into the left rough.
So he's a little further down that slope. But it is An who's got the 1-up lead. Ziegler has to win the 18th outright to move it on to the 19th hole. Get it close.
yeah, well, the one thing you want to do here is make sure you keep it a little bit left. You don't want to get it a little too far to the right, because if it gets a little too far right, it can scoot and run all the way back down to the front of the green.
Left.
Made that big swing trying to get a flop shot going. It's not going to get all the way there. It's going to come back, I believe. Yep, here it
That's
goes.
why you've got to keep it to the left of the hole.
So that opens the door a bit for Ziegler. What is his lie like, Raj?
Well, certainly An had the better of the 2 lies, was further from the green. So even though Ziegler's lie was not as good as An's, or it's not as good as An's, I think it's the easier of the 2 shots because it's nearer the green. Now, as you said, Gary, keep it left of the hole or get it past the hole. You can do that on the right and keep it on the proper level, but you have to be mindful of that ridge.
All right, a little bit on the upslope, so should be able to get the ball up in the air, which will help to stop it.
Ziegler 2 down with 2 to play. Trying to live for another hole here.
It's a pretty good looking shot here. Beautifully played.
A lot shorter par putt than On will have coming up that hill again. So big advantage for Ziegler.
Quick postscript to the story on the high school situation with these kids. Bobby Ortega, their high school coach, very disciplined, stringent thing. So both these guys wanted me to let him know about that incident 7-8 years ago, because they knew if Bobby had caught wind of it, they might be sitting out a tournament or two.
Setting the record straight. And we'll remind you that we are right back here at Southern Hills tomorrow, 4 o'clock Eastern Time at NBC Sports for the Final Four semifinal coverage of this 109th U.S. Amateur Championship. So it is a long par putt, but On still with a chance to close it out here at 18.
Well, about 30 feet, maybe a little more, and up the very steepest part of the face of the slope in this left-hand side of the green. So a slow putt here.
Yeah, this is one we've seen almost no one today get the ball all the way up to the hole.
So Ziegler will have a par putt and a chance to get it to an extra hole. Well, will we see another Stanford player vie for a U.S. Amateur Championship on Sunday? Perhaps he's just trying to get to Saturday first here, and he has to make this.
Roger, he couldn't have left it in a much better position, obviously a little closer to the hole, but I mean, just kind of what you'd want in it. Slightly uphill, moving maybe ever so slightly right to
Little
left.
breaker to the left, yeah.
I mean, that's, you know, most right-handed players, those are the putts they are the most comfortable with. Anytime you're on the inside part of the break, it seems to be easier to get the ball started where you're looking.
And let's put it this way, I doubt he'll misread it. If he misses it, it'll be because he mishit it.
Ziegler, who has fought back from 3 down deficits twice today.
Love that putting stroke, that pre-putt routine there, just some flow to it. Not worried so much about the mechanics, more about the speed of the stroke.
Gets it done again. It is a fist-pumping, tiger-like Stanford way to move on to the extra hole.
Now we've seen On hit some hooks here, Roger. You know, gets the ball turning to the left rather rapidly, and left is not a good miss here at the first.
Especially with this wind direction, he could go way left.
Go.
Sounded like Dad liked it.
That was a very good looking swing.
It should be good up the right side.
Yeah, should kick a little bit left and just gets into the intermediate cut of rough.
Semifinal number 2 features a couple of teenagers. Fresno State sophomore Bhavik Patel, just 18 years old, against 17-year-old Byung-Hoon An from Seoul, South Korea. And it was Patel who was struggling early. This for par. He bogeys 2 out of the first 3 holes as he fell 1 down early to On, but Patel battling back for birdie at the par 4 fourth to win the hole and square the match with On. At the 8th hole, a long par 3, which is 249 yards. A good par there for On to win the hole, to go 1 up. So On and Patel very close. On just 1 up.
Roger, by coming up short here, On has really left himself a tough little pitch.
And the tougher of the two, certainly. I think the only way he can get it close is to pitch it past the hole, catch a backstop. There is a ridge behind the hole, and bring it back. Boy, he's tried to play the hero shot, and that is wonderful off that tight line.
Yeah, that is Tiger-esque right there. You don't see many 17-year-olds trying a shot with that degree of difficulty.
Byung-Hoon Ahn at 17, trying to become the youngest ever to win this championship. The previous two youngest players, Tiger Woods, who was eclipsed by Danny Lee in last year's U.S. Amateur at Pinehurst. So we could see the first two Asian-born players to win this U.S. Amateur Championship in back-to-back years. That is how golf has been popularized in Asia and has been changing through the years. Of course, we saw Y.E. Yang win the PGA Championship title over Tiger earlier this year. And there's that big right-to-left swinger. He gets it a little bit high and it moves
just a
away.
Little firm, yeah, just a little firm. The putts from hole high here on a lot of these greens, very difficult. A lot of break.
And back to the 11th, Patel and Ahn match. Roger, what kind of situation does Ahn have over there?
Not a good one. This is dreadful over here, stymied by the trunk of a large tree immediately ahead of him and would have no opportunity to get on the green playing right or left of the tree. So has got to play left, I would think, to the front short of the green to have a chance to pitch up and try to save par. If he tries to play it in that bunker on the right, I don't think you have much of a shot out of that bunker, Gary. So I think he has to go left in front.
Well, again, you have to be thinking in terms of the chances of your opponent making a par are not very good.
Well, I can tell you this, he has not looked over at Patel's lie at all.
Yeah, well, this is the one thing to me. Sometimes some of these youngsters that aren't very experienced at match play, they don't pay enough attention to. You want to always keep in mind where your opponent is, what are his possibilities. He's aiming, Roger, like he's going to go try to play to the right here and put it up into this bunker. The problem is, from the right bunker, you're going to land right on a downslope. It's very difficult to get it close from there.
And he's got to be thinking that 4 has an excellent chance of having this hole.
And he's got a lot better chance of making a 4, in my mind, if he goes left of that tree and pitches it out in front of the green.
I agree wholeheartedly. That's the most, that's unbelievable.
Roger, not a problem.
That's unbelievable.
Ran it through the bunker, up over the lip, and it even stayed out of the deep Bermuda. Over to 13, Ahn's third.
Just a wedge for his third after a beautiful layup out of the trees on the right. Very aggressive shot.
Oh, this is wonderful.
Just a tap in for Ahn.
Way to go, Ben.
That'll be his first birdie of the day.
And he is currently 1 down to Patel. So Ahn with the chance here to win the hole.
And this putt again, the first part uphill, then over a ridge and running downhill and very quick from this angle.
Much better.
Very well done.
Very good.
Ahn entering his senior year of high school at Bradenton Prep. And if that sounds familiar, it is part of the David Ledbetter Junior Golf Academy.
Interesting, Roger. This is one of those hole locations that looks difficult when you're standing in the fairway, but there are a lot of ways to get it close.
Come on, go.
He's taking it just a little right of the hole. I think he's going to try to use that backstop.
Beauty.
Here it comes.
It should come right back down. Still trickling. Still trickling. Good shot. This is an indication of the slope and the speed of these greens.
Well, no big deal if you missed. Just needed 2 putts from there, and that will do it. 3 holes in a row, won by Ahn, who was 1 down through 12, now 2 up through 15.
Looks very nervous now.
Ahn with his second.
No time at all. He's hit it very solid, but at the right green side bunker. Comes up short of that. Okay.
Yeah, short. Right, yeah, that's not bad at all.
Advantage Ahn, who could end it right here by winning the hole. He's got the 2-up lead. You see Ahn's dad there. His mother lives in China and is in China at this moment. Both of Ahn's parents Olympic medalists in table tennis. They met while competing at the 1988 Summer Games in Seoul, South Korea, where Ahn's father on the bag here won the doubles, or actually won bronze. His mother won bronze in the singles and won a silver medal in the doubles. His dad won a bronze medal in those Seoul games.
Well, we've seen very few players have any success when they try to putt the ball up these ridges. The grain of the grass so strong that you either come up well short, or if you try to make sure you hit it firmly enough, knock it well by the hole like An did there.
An's mother, Ju Ming Jiao, competed for China and was the #1 ranked women table tennis player in the world. And I asked his dad, did Ben, as they call him, the Americanized name for him, did Ben ever have an interest in table tennis? And he said nope, he got bit by the golf bug early, and that was it. And I think it's worked out pretty well.
You like that one?
Patel, though, for bogey here first.
And a slippery putt, and he must make coming down this slope. Should be moving from right to left as well, some anyway.
Is this the end of the line for Bavik?
You can see there a little bit of frustration showing, trying to motivate himself. Really hadn't played a lot of big amateur events this summer. Tried to qualify for the U.S. Hub Links, was an alternate there, but he's just been playing mostly local tournaments around his home area. So a little bit of a surprise to see him get this far.
Oh, not even close. And much like Charlie Holland just didn't have his game, Patel really didn't have his game all day, and it really especially showed late when An began to hit some better shots in the back nine. So 2 putts to become the other finalist with Ben Martin.
Yeah, you can hear a little noise in the background there. Sound almost like a baby crying, Raj.
It sounded exactly like a baby crying. That's what it was.
An's father, just 2.5 years ago, moved to Florida to join his son. His mother has stayed back in China, and it's been a difficult time. She doesn't get a chance to see her son or her husband a lot, and that is it. As the son, Byun Hun An, moves on and keeps his hopes alive of becoming the youngest U.S. Amateur Championship in history at the age of 17. And there's a hug between a father and son that they hope continues tomorrow after the 36-hole championship match.
An wins the match 3-2.
So it'll be An and Ben Martin in the 36-hole finale tomorrow. Gary, based on what you've seen in their semifinal action today, anybody a favorite in your eyes?
Well, I'd have to give Ben Martin the nod, to be perfectly honest with you, Dan. Played very solid golf today. I think he made 2 birdies and 2 bogeys over, you know, it's a difficult golf course. If you get out of position, out of play, off the tee, especially here at Southern Hills, you're going to struggle, and that's certainly what we saw from An. He had trouble driving the ball in the fairway, getting the ball in play off the tee. So, you know, more experienced Ben Martin, no question.
Let's go to Roger Maltby with the 17-year-old.
Thank you very much, and congratulations on your trip to the finals tomorrow. And I guess a trip to Augusta and next year's U.S. Open. Your thoughts?
Really excited right now, and then I think today was a really important day. I mean, tomorrow I'm still gonna play my best, and I mean, today's semifinal I couldn't sleep last night. I mean, thinking about Augusta and U.S. Open next year. I'm really excited right now.
I'm sure you are. Enjoy this victory, and best of luck to you tomorrow.
Thank you. Thanks.
Dan.
All right, thank you very much, Roger. So it's Ben Martin with his dad on the bag. Byun Hun An with his father on the bag in the 36-hole finale to determine the 109th U.S. Amateur Champion. NBC Sports and the United States Golf Association are proud to present a national championship. Today it's live championship match coverage of the 109th United States Amateur. And it is a gorgeous championship Sunday in Tulsa, Oklahoma at Southern Hills Country Club, where today the latest chapter in this course's rich history will be written. 3 U.S. Open champions crowned here, along with 4 PGA champions. And today, Southern Hills will crown its 2nd U.S. Amateur winner. And the young man who handles its thick Bermuda rough, its tricky trademark Perry Maxwell greens, and the pressure of trying to add his name alongside the greats on the Havemeyer Trophy will emerge with the most coveted title in amateur golf. And the final two playing 36 holes on this championship Sunday. 22-year-old Clemson senior Ben Martin against 17-year-old Byung-Hoon An, born in Seoul, South Korea, and trying to become the youngest champion in U.S. Amateur Championship history. It was close most of the day, even though An started things off at 8 o'clock this morning with a birdie at the first to get himself a 1-up lead. And then Martin's second at the par 4 second would end up squaring the match with his birdie there. No one got a bigger lead than 1-up as they played on. They were all square at 15, but this will give you an idea of how these Perry Maxwell greens can get away from you. This was a birdie putt for Martin at 15. Dan Hicks along here with Gary Koch, and Gary, he had a longer putt coming back for par.
Well, he had a decision to make. Do you try to make the birdie putt? He did. He didn't hole it. Paid the price, misses the comebacker for par, and ends up losing the hole.
And then this is where the morning 18 started getting away from Martin, as An, after a huge drive on the longest par 4 here, the 16th, measuring 507 yards. This was An's beautiful second.
Now played with a 7-iron, controlled the distance very nicely, leaves himself a very makeable putt for birdie.
Nonetheless, a delicate left to right downhiller here for birdie to give himself the 2-up lead.
Just sneaks it in the left side.
Interesting exchange at the short par 4 17th. Martin went for it, drove it over the green, and then played this pitch short. It comes back down the slope. Now An played the hole much more conservatively, laid up, and then hit his second over the green, putted up the slope, and then hit this for par to win the hole. So An at that point, 3 wins in a row. They have the 18th, so it was An, the 17-year-old, with a 3-up lead after the morning 18. Martin looked like he was going to cut into the lead. He did, in fact, birdie the first hole to be only 2 down, but then things started going awry here. This was his second at the second.
Well, made the cardinal mistake here, Dan. Hit it long at the second hole. You'll watch right down the slope and into the hazard, giving the hole right back to An.
And he was back to 3 down. Lost the third to go 4 down, and then Martin's third at the par 5 fifth here.
Well, we've seen players struggle all week out of this long Bermuda rough around the greens. Poor shot there all the way to the back of the green, unable to get it up and down.
And he was back to 5 down. They have the 6, and then Martin's third here at the 7th.
Well, again, out of the Bermuda rough. This one comes up short and leads to another lost hole.
At one point, 11 straight missed greens in regulation for Martin as he was 6 down. And then on second at the 9th gave Martin some breathing room.
Well, he flies the green. Cardinal mistake there at the 9th, and that would lead to a bogey.
So Martin wins the hole, and then on at the 10th for par after a Martin par. So 2 wins in a row suddenly for Ben Martin, who's got a little more life. On 4 up through 28 holes as they play the 11th here. The 166-yard par 3. We've got on for birdie, a couple of birdie putts here. This was a moment ago.
Well, very quick down the hill, should turn a little to the left.
So on comes back after losing the last 2 holes with that birdie, and so now live here with Martin for his birdie to have the hole and stay 4 down. Roger Maltby is with his championship match. Roger.
Well, just when it looked like momentum was starting to switch Martin's way, he now has this putt to have the hole uphill, and will break a little bit to his left.
Just like that, Martin gives another hole back to An, who now is 5 up through 29 holes, as we welcome you to the 109th edition of the U.S. Amateur Championship. Dan Hicks here with Gary Koch at Southern Hills Country Club. And Gary, so much at stake for these young players, and On, just 17 years old, trying to become the youngest name on that coveted Havemeyer Trophy, but even more at stake for the guy who comes out on top today after the duo have already assured themselves of invites to the Masters and the U.S. Open.
Right, and the winner will be invited to play in the British Open next year, so obviously something on their minds, but I think right now for these two players, trying to win this Havemeyer Trophy is the biggest thing, and it really is, at this point in the proceedings, in my mind, two very different mindsets. I mean, On right now needs to figure out a way to make pars. I mean, this golf course is playing as difficultly as it has all week long, and if he can continue to make pars, he's just going to count the holes down until he's going to have this thing in the bag. Martin, on the other hand, we noticed a number of poor iron shots. It starts by he's got to get the ball in play off the tee. If he does that, then he should have an opportunity to play some quality iron shots and give himself some birdie opportunities, which right now he desperately needs.
It is a championship week where you try to hang on to your game. Roger Maltby down there with the championship match. Tom O'Toole of the USGA Executive Committee up here at 18 to handle any rules interpretations. And so here is On with that 5-up lead, and this one headed way left, Roger.
A big pull hook with a 3-wood headed for the trees, it appears.
Again, you try to hang on to your game. This is a competition here at Southern Hills which began on Monday. 2 days of stroke play to make it to match play, and then you have to win 6 matches to put your name on that trophy.
Physically, and it is very grueling mentally, and I think that's one of the reasons why we're seeing the type of play that we're seeing today. Often we see it, Dan, it's kind of a letdown when these guys know they've already gotten a spot in the Masters and the U.S. Open. Sometimes the play in the finals can be a little bit ragged.
Martin's got to take advantage here. He has run out of holes being 5 down.
Yes, a 3-wood as well on this, kind of high and gonna go right. Might miss the fairway right.
Well, he got a good break.
The fairway.
Hops back off the tree into the fairway, but that is way back. That's going to leave a very lengthy second shot.
Let's take a look at this 455-yard par 4, Gary.
Well, it's known as the signature hole here at Southern Hills. A wonderful dog-leg par 4 to the left. Fairway bunker you see on the left-hand side. About 265 yards to get it past that. As the hole bends, the fairway does slope slightly from right to left, but it's really the second shot that is critical. Small target, and as you can see, the creek guarding the right-hand side of the hole. That bank between the green and the creek is shaved very closely. Any ball that goes right of the green will end up in the hazard, and you see the hole location there today in the back center of the green.
Well, you want golf updates whenever and wherever. Use NBC Sports Mobile. Get them right on your cell phone. Just text the word golf to 51515. Again, the letters GOLF to 51515. Talk about a grueling week. Martin has played 133 holes this week, On 134. Both had matches that went extra holes a couple of times. As we take a look at Martin's road to the finals, he beat Tyson Alexander, the son of the Florida golf coach, in extra holes, 21 holes in the first round. Then in the second round, Chris Ward, he went 19 holes with.
Well, he did, and in each of those matches, Dan, and Tyson Alexander, he was 3 up with 3 to play, lost all 3. Chris Ward, he was 2 up with 2 to play, and ended up winning in extra holes.
Nico Geiger takes him out 2-1, and then David Lingmerth of Sweden succumbed by the same score. And then Martin really got his game going yesterday against Charlie Holland, running away with that match.
By far the best golf that he played all week long was in yesterday's semifinals. He was even par, 2 birdies and 2 bogeys, the rest pars in that match.
And the road for Byung-Hoon On, who we'll call Ben. That is his name here in the United States since he arrived here nearly 4 years ago in 2005. 2-1 winner over Alex Moon. Then he beats Brett Konda 4-3. Mike Van Sickle out of Marquette. There's the extra hole match for On, and then another extra hole, 21 in fact, against Ziegler out of Stanford. And then yesterday Bhavik Patel losing to the 17-year-old. On in his first 5 matches, he trailed for only 2 out of the 69 holes. And here is Martin, who got the break back out on the fairway.
But is well back. 228 yards left of the hole. Hole cut in the center of the green, but very deep.
And both of these golfers have their fathers on the bag. Ben Martin with his father Jim, who went to Clemson, and Ben's mother Susie is here. She went to Clemson. His younger brother, a freshman at Clemson. I mean, when we say they bleed Tiger orange, it is the entire family, literally.
All right, just have to make sure you don't miss this shot anywhere to the right. Carry it just past the front of the green. It should release back toward the hole.
Go.
This looks like it needs to get up at the center of the green, and that catches that front greenside bunker.
Has struggled with his iron play all day long.
And on also with his father, Jae Hyung, on the bag. We mentioned that On moved from Seoul, South Korea, where he was born. He came over here again nearly 4 years ago without either of his parents. His dad did join him about 2.5 years ago. His mother has remained in China and visits occasionally, maybe a couple times a year for extended periods of a month or so. But in Bradenton, Florida, where he goes to Bradenton Prep, a senior in high school there. But literally, they have sacrificed the normal family unit to get all the potential they possibly can out of their 17-year-old son, Ben.
And to me, Dan, that's always a gamble. I mean, obviously the young man is very talented, but there's certainly no guarantees in this game. We've seen a number of players show potential at a young age that never make it. So a lot of family sacrifice there.
Both his parents Olympic medalists. His father was a bronze medalist at the '88 Summer Games, where he met Ben's mother. She was the #1 ranked table tennis player in the world. So they've got 3 Olympic medals already in the On family.
Well, Roger, he is looking up through the trees like he is going to go for this shot.
There is a gap in those trees that he could play up through. But that will go long through the green, and there are some bushes and shrubs back there.
Well, it's okay. It is in the rough.
And On does have the 5-up lead through 29. 109th U.S. Amateur Championship at Southern Hills.
Not the strength of his game, Dan. He has admitted he needs to improve his bunker play. He is 0 for 4 in sand saves so far in this final match, but that one, not all bad.
And Southern Hills Country Club, very highly respected venue. 3 U.S. Opens here. The latest winner, Retief Goosen, back 8 years ago. And it's a golf course where, you know, you just can't take out the big stick and overpower it or bomb it around. It's 7,093 yards, Gary. Thick Bermuda, and the greens are not very big.
They are very small, at averaging 4,800 square feet.
Now On from behind the green here, Roger.
And from the heavy rough, they're going to try to play a flop shot here.
Go! Gotcha!
That is brilliantly played.
Was that his father yelling golf shot?
I think it might have been, but he was correct. Big, huge swing. That was a little bit like what we see from Tiger Woods sometimes. I mean, making a swing that normally would propel the ball probably 60, 70 yards. I mean, look at this. Gets it up to a 3/4 position, then accelerates through, and see the high finish, kind of getting the ball, holding the face open. That helps to add to the loft and helps get the ball up in the air more.
And in a year where Korea has made some big noise in the world of golf, On could become the 2nd straight Korean-born U.S. Amateur champion, following in the footsteps of Danny Lee, who won at Pinehurst #2 last year. But here is Martin to try to save par. And if On wins this hole, he would be dormy 6 up with 6 to play. There is Ben Martin's mother, Susie, who had quite a trip just to get here yesterday. We'll tell you about it after this putt.
This putt breaking to his left, and rather sharply when it loses speed.
Not going to stay up. Runs out of speed.
Well, her flight was delayed out of South Carolina on Friday, and then storms in Houston forced her into Beaumont, Texas. She finally got to Houston, missed the connection, so spent the night in Houston. Finally got here about midway through Ben Martin's semifinal match yesterday, and it has not been the easiest day to watch her son, who is down big time here, 6 down. But she is a constant at nearly all of Ben's collegiate tournaments as we set up the par 5 13th hole.
Well, at 535 yards, it is certainly reachable in 2 by both these young players. Key is to hit the tee shot in the fairway, as it is so often the case here at Southern Hills. A lot of times you end up with a very uneven lie for the second shot if you go for the green, and you have to be careful. Water guarding both front left and front right. Second shot is often a blind shot, and there's the hole location today, kind of placed just over the front left green side bunker.
And on already the youngest finalist since 17-year-old Sung Yoon Kim. Remember him at Pebble Beach back in 1999. He lost in the finals to David Gossett, but Ben On here has kind of the same build, very big for his age, and I asked Ben yesterday if he remembers Sung Yoon Kim, and he said, yep, me and my dad know all about him. And I asked him where Sung Yoon Kim is today. He says he's still trying to make a go of it in professional golf. He's now 27 years old.
Right.
And this one's headed way right.
And they call that, the members here call it the dark forest over there.
Well, there's a lot of holes where you could call it that. He said coming in on did that he was driving the ball poorly, misses both right and left. Thought he had maybe found something the early part of the week, but that swing just awfully hard. He seems to go at every tee shot full bore. I guess when you're 17 years old, Dan, you can afford to do that.
Martin turned 22 on Wednesday. All ACC conference selection a couple of times. Academic All-American. He is quite a student in addition to his golfing talents.
Yeah, majoring in financial management
with a 3.5 GPA.
Appeared to be a better swing.
Well, this one too going right though, just about in the same line as On's.
Yeah, that will also miss the fairway to the right. He's hit just 10 of now 24 fairways in this final match.
On with a smile on his face. Who wouldn't have a smile on your face with a 6-up lead in the U.S. Amateur? And no guarantees on this shot for Martin. Tree troubles and rough problems, Roger.
Yeah, on an uphill slope, 252 the hole, no chance to reach the green. Just trying to knock it down underneath the tree limbs and chase it down the fairway a ways if he can. And that was it's gonna find a left rough and still leave a long third.
Yeah, that came out of there very low and left in a hurry. Let the club face close down.
And with On Dormy 6 up with 6 to play, Martin has to win this hole to extend the match.
And he on a downhill slope further right. He had a perfect alleyway to play it down the fairway. Very fortunate.
So advantage On. And we'll remind you that this 109th United States Amateur Championship is brought to you by U.S. Bank. Since 1863, the dreams of millions have taken off with U.S. Bank. By Lexus, who invites you to the Lexus Golden Opportunity Sales Event. Hurry, ends September 7th. And by MasterCard. There are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. Today on this championship Sunday, by far the best day of the entire week. Low humidity, temperature topping out at about 80 degrees. It just could not be a finer day in late August in Tulsa. Road to the final from the quarterfinals for both Martin and On. You can see Peter Uihlein's name in there earlier. There were a number of Oklahoma State Cowboys that made it to this U.S. Amateur Championship. Uihlein taken out by Charlie Holland, who was eventually beaten in the semis yesterday by Martin. And Philip Malika was another Clemson Tiger who played well besides Ben Martin in this amateur. But I think it's funny, you've got Martin in the reddish orange shirt, but then you've got On, who after the morning 18 donned a Clemson orange shirt. Roger Maltby out there. Maybe a little gamesmanship or mere coincidence?
I'm going with coincidence. I don't think you'd do that. Yeah, Martin now 175 yards left to the hole from the left rough, with the hole tucked just over a bunker. And the front left there, not an easy shot to get anywhere near the hole.
Yeah, Roger, we're looking at a graphic that he's missed 12 of the last 15 greens in regulation. So
I don't care if you're Seve Ballesteros.
Yeah, exactly. Not on this golf course. It's just going to lead to a lot of bogeys, and unfortunately in match play, that's going to lead to a lot of lost holes.
And he has to do something huge here to win this hole on, or it's over.
Roger probably has to play to the right of the hole, doesn't he? I mean, if he carries that bunker on line with the hole location out of this rough, no way to stop it, is there?
I wouldn't think so. The only saving grace is that wind is coming against and from the right, which will help some, but still very tough to get it to stay on the green if he goes to the hole.
For left.
This kind of chunked and pulled and hooked, going well left.
There's water there. No, that's over the water, but that is going to be left of the gallery. Gets awfully steep on a lot of these shots. You can kind of see it in his swing. He gets it back on one plane, and then he starts back down. He's actually over the plane a little bit. Gets very steep, and that results in some high pushes. And when he releases the club, some pulls like that.
In fact, Martin has gone 18 consecutive holes without a birdie in this match. He's made only 2 all day, and he's lying 3 in a bad spot. On is getting closer to closing this out.
Now, Roger, pretty good yardage, 72 yards.
Something I would think he'd play with a 60-degree wedge here. Something you can hit firmly, and of course you don't want to leave it short at this point. You want to get it past the hole and on the green. Oh, he's going right at it. Okay.
And coming back a little bit. So a huge advantage for On here, who said earlier this week he has not won anything in the last 5 years.
I find that very remarkable, Dan. Even junior competition, he was telling us.
Foreign-born champions in this U.S. Amateur Championship. On would be the 11th different foreign-born champion of the U.S. Amateur, and the 5th in the last 7 years. There you see Danny Lee down there at Pinehurst last year, Richie Ramsey at Hazeltine a couple of years prior, Eduardo Molinari from Italy at Marion Golf Club.
And Danny, I think that speaks volumes about how golf is becoming more of a worldwide sport. We're seeing it obviously in the ladies' professional game, but now we're starting to see it even in men's amateur golf as well. I mean, Flanagan from a great program down in Australia, Molinari from Italy. So the other thing we're seeing an awful lot of is these amateurs coming over to the States, foreign amateurs, and playing collegiate golf here in the United States. So they're much more comfortable playing in these conditions.
And most likely, with the inclusion of golf in the Olympics in 2016, that will go a long way in just further spurring on this international field. All right, Martin's 4th, Roger.
Well, this is no good from over here. Green's running away from him. Will move hard to his right. Saving grace, wind kind of coming against, but there's just not much here, Gary.
Well, it's just so hard to judge how the ball's going to come out of this Bermuda grass. It's one of those you need to take a big swing. Hopefully you guess right.
He's played really about as nicely as you could hope for, but it goes on by a good 20+ feet.
So Martin just hanging on by a thread. Following today's championship coverage, make sure you go to NBCSports.com for the Lexus wrap-up. We'll break down all of today's action with exclusive video, features, and analysis. It's all on NBCSports.com. So On has worked himself into a position that will just take 2 putts from where he is to become the youngest amateur in history. Only two 18-year-olds have won this championship, Danny Lee and Tiger Woods, and he'd be the first 17-year-old.
And it appears that Martin will actually putt first, so may not even need two
may not
putts.
even need the two. I
Yeah.
mean, that's with Martin making this for par. So.
Well, I have to tell you, Dan, I'm a little surprised at Ben Martin's play today. He played so nicely in the semifinal match yesterday, very consistently, 2 birdies, 2 bogeys, and the rest pars, and just seemed to get off to a not very good start, early today, and has not found his rhythm. His golf swing is really based on rhythm and tempo, and it just seems to have been off all day long.
His longtime coach at Clemson, Larry Penley, now in his 27th year of heading the Tiger Golf program, was hoping for another Clemson golfer to put his name in the Havemeyer Trophy. Chris Patton winning 20 years ago, but it has not been Ben Martin's day. 14 bogeys in the last 22 holes for Martin. And On is on the cusp of history. His mother following this championship on the internet in China. Well, this broadcast is seen live in some 175 countries around the world.
Wonderful position to be in. 3 putts to win the hole.
And that will do it. Byung-Hun An has a spot on the Havemeyer Trophy alongside all those great names: Bobby Jones, Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus, Tiger Woods. And now for the 2nd straight year, a Korean-born player wins the biggest amateur championship in the world. 7-5. Jim Vernon, the president of the United States Golf Association, congratulating Ben, who began playing at the age of 6 following his dad to the driving range, and none prouder than his father, Jae Hung, who gets to watch it step for step with young Ben. We will be back for the presentation, talk with both players. In the meantime, we'll show you what happened in the morning 18 as our crew was out here early in the morning to tape the coverage, picked up some of the pivotal moments from the morning 18 as Byung-Hun An worked his way to that 3-up lead after the first 18 and then just pulled away from Ben Martin, who just couldn't find any of his game. Another reason to celebrate in the golfing world for Korea. They've got the U.S. Amateur champion for the 2nd straight year, and we'll be back with much more right after this. Stay with us. And at the age of 17, you would figure that Ben An Gary might have another opportunity to become one of those rare golfers to win multiple U.S. Amateur titles, but tell you what, when the other guy loses his game, I mean, On was a little on and off, but when the other guy like Ben Martin loses his game, it makes it a lot easier.
Well, it certainly does. You have to give On credit. He drove the ball much better than Martin did. He hit 17 of the 24 fairways of the holes that they played. Martin only hit 10 of the 24. So obviously that put On in a position to play a little more aggressively into the greens. Both putted, reasonably well. It's really tough when you get the momentum going the wrong way and you don't have your swing on a golf course set up this difficultly. Doesn't matter what you try, you just kind of get into that spiral where nothing works, and that's exactly what happened to Martin today.
All right, let's go down to the green for the presentation with Roger Maltby.
Thank you, Dan. It's my pleasure to introduce the president of the United States Golf Association, Jim Vernon, who would like to present the Havemeyer Trophy to our champion.
Ladies and gentlemen, please join me in welcoming our 109th United States Amateur Champion, Byung-Hun An.
Now, may I call you Ben? I know that's your nickname. Okay, Ben, congratulations.
Thanks.
Today, you added another nice little nugget to the nugget you already received by being exempt next year into the United States Open Championship and the Masters. The British Open added as well.
Yeah.
Did those thoughts pop into your head at all today?
All day, starting last night. Yeah. I mean, I know I made a U.S. Open already, but I really want to play British Open too. I mean, it's fantastic. And then, like again, I couldn't sleep last night thinking about today, and then, but I had a good sleep though. Yeah, it helped, I guess.
Recently, Y.E. Yang won the PGA Championship. Did that serve as inspiration for you, certainly this week?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, and then, like, after he won the PGA Championship, man, all of us, like Koreans, Asians, doesn't matter who it is, and give us a lot of possibility to win the majors or the big tournaments like USM. And then, yeah, it really inspired me. Yeah, it was awesome.
And as a final question, at the tender age of 17, you become the youngest winner ever of this championship. Your thoughts on that?
Like I said 1,000 times, but I don't think the age matters really in golf. But it's a great title to have, the youngest winner.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is pretty cool. Yeah, it's pretty cool. Yeah, and then I think it is pretty cool.
Well, congratulations on an outstanding week of great golf and on being the 2009 U.S. Amateur Champion.
Thank you.
Dan?
Thank you, Roger. It is pretty cool, and all the things that go along with putting your name on that Havemeyer Trophy, the gold medal, and on and on. Gary, it really is one of those championships that really can direct you into a whole new level, at least to where your career might be headed.
Well, we've heard it from Arnold Palmer, Jack Nicklaus, Justin Leonard, on and on and on. Guys who win the U.S. Amateur saying how important it was to give them the confidence to go on to have successful professional careers.
And you heard Ben On mention Y.E. Yang, the winner of the PGA Championship. Yoon Hee Ji won the Women's Open, also born in Seoul, South Korea. So a huge year in golf for Korea.
Well, it is amazing. We were talking about it just briefly there, what a worldwide game it is becoming and how good the players are becoming from all around the world. They're not afraid to come to the United States now and take on the competition here, the best players, and they're proving that they certainly belong.